Hi.
Oh, what's up?
How you doing?
I'm doing well, doing well.
Good, good, good. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Yeah. So I heard you had a race, right? This past weekend or a week or something.
Yes. When was that? Oh, yep. Yeah, this weekend we had regionals. Yeah.
America
So that,
Regionals.
yeah, that
Let
was
me know
it
how it
was
went.
it was cool. It was really cool because for the well, it was the biggest race of the season so far. So what that means is basically there was just a huge amount of schools there. There was like had to be, I think it was 14. And each team, was bringing, I mean, the Penn State team, we brought 70 something people. That's split up between guys and girls, but I think it was around 70. But like that's a lot of people for each team, like
Yeah.
30, 35 people per team.
Yeah.
So it was just we were on the start line and then the gun went off and it was just a mob. So I tried to go out slower though. Did I tell you about that last time?
No, I don't think you did. No.
In 8Ks recently, I think that I've been going out way too fast in the beginning. So I really try. I didn't have my watch, so I couldn't look at time, but I tried to feel it out and go out a little bit slower. That way I could sort of gauge my effort and finish stronger. And I PR'd, so it was good.
That's good.
So,
Yeah. So I mean, I think especially with an 8K, and since we're kind of young, it's a definitely a weird distance. So I think probably it's not even that it's a weird distance. It's just like longer than we're used to racing. I mean, we only did
yeah.
what up to 5K in high school. So
hmm
I think it's definitely smart to go out a little bit slower for the
Yeah.
8.
Yeah. Also, the training is different because
Yeah.
one thing we don't realize is at least what I'm sort of seeing in my training is uh the 8K, it's a 5 mile race, but I feel like right now, if I had to run a 5K, that's sort of where I would thrive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, you practically PR'd in one of your 8Ks in a 5K.
Almost.
I think you did. I was like doing the math. Like you basically you basically tied your PR. I think what you were on like 16:24. You basically ran that in the 8K or something like that.
Yeah, so I guess that's a good a
If that
gauge, a
doesn't
good
show,
gauge.
yeah, if that doesn't show where your fitness is at right now, I mean, I think you could go well under 16 minutes.
That would be so cool.
I think you could definitely run in the 15:30s or not even maybe even faster. Who knows? But yeah, that's really
Okay,
awesome.
well, anyway, to segue, I guess, from what you just said, you thinking that I could run faster. Do you know what it takes to run faster?
What does it take to run fast?
It's, well, first of all, you got to drink your milk. Okay.
Milk.
Do you drink? No, I'm just kidding. But
Do I drink milk?
yeah, never mind. That was a bad joke. But do you remember what I texted you about? Like, we're gonna get into a deep conversation this podcast. That's
Yes.
what we
Yeah.
got to try for.
Tell me what that's all about.
So, running takes certain values. Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
So, in running, you either have people run for different reasons. Basically, that's sort of the, I guess, big title that you could put on. So, I thought you and me could discuss our motives and the things that have made us not want to run as well, like
I'd
over the
say,
past like couple years, not just now. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, I'd say for me, I'd say there's a couple big reasons that come to mind when I think of like why I run. I think it's one, obviously, you have like to be fast. That's a big one, right? To run faster. That is definitely
Okay.
a training.
Yeah.
And then also just like you get in a routine and you have your team, you know? Um, and it's like it's a nice environment to be around, especially in high school, because some of my best friends are on the team. Um, and yeah, you just get in a nice routine running at the same time every day. And yeah, it kind of just becomes a part of your daily habits. And as I said, being with a team is a nice thing. So I think in high school, the two things were getting faster and being with the team. And the reason why that's so different, at least for me in college, is one, I didn't really set the routine heading into college, like to run every day, because this summer was basically botched. And then two, there's no team. I mean, I guess the running club, but I mean, I don't really see them.
If you're not fully invested every day in that, it's not what you need it to be.
Right. Especially like on the high school team, like you'd have like, if you're a captain, like you really care about the guys, right? If you're on the relay team, you know, you want to hit those standards, you want to qualify for big meets.
You don't just sort of watch the culture, you're part of the culture, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And as a team, you're kind of working towards certain goals. And as a running club team, you're kind of just like running with people and working on your own goals, if that makes any sense, which is fine, but it's not like, it's different than like the collective, I guess. At least for me, that's what I found. And I don't know, I've told you recently, like, I don't know, it's just been, I don't know, training's been like really kind of choppy lately for me. I've just been like, with classes and everything, I've just been trying to balance everything. And I've been like asking myself over and over again, like, if this is really worth it. And of course I love running and I want to continue to do it in the future, but like, is it worth it to go real full throttle and try to, as I said, like try to make this team? Cause that's what we're all trying to do at the end of the day. Cause like, I don't know. I don't think I'll really be an asset, frankly, on Syracuse cross country or track. So,
well, okay. So that would mean like you value actually, I mean, you said it before, you value being a part of the team. So if you're going to be on the team, but you're not going to be an asset to the team, you know, that takes away one of your values, you know?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Because again, it's kind of like the same thing with the running club. Like it's a nice group of guys to run with, but I mean, what are you really working towards? Like winning club meets? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But on sort of the other side of that, if you can sort of, I mean, it's really hard to change your values. You know what I mean? Those
It
sort
is,
of just adapt over time, at least
definitely.
I think. So for now, maybe what sort of just you need to do is you just need to do it for fun. You know,
I think that's a good goal. And also about like the getting faster value. I think it's like the reason I want to get faster is to make the team. But I think I feel like when I think about that, I think of the standards I have to hit, which according to one of the assistant coaches is 14:30 for the 5K and 8:30 for the 3K, which is like insanely fast. So
wait, 14:30?
yes, he says as a college walk on, one of the assistant coaches emailed my friend and said you have to run somewhere around 8:30 for the 3K and 14:30 for the 5K.
Well, I think you can run 8:30 for the 3K 100%, but 14:30, I don't even know if you know that's fast. That's real fast.
Really
I feel like those
fast.
don't add up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's definitely, I'm going to try my best right now, but if it gets to a point where it's just like too much to balance and I'm not seeing, and if it's hurting me more than it's helping me, because, I've had problems with injuries and stuff. And I mean, right now, I think I'm still on track to keep on training and everything. It's just,
like you're working at it still. It's just,
yeah. I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like in some ways with college, it's kind of opening me up to a lot of different opportunities. And it just makes me think like, is running just like wasting my time? But I don't think that's the case because like, one, it keeps me in shape. And two, it's just like keeps me mentally stable, I guess.
Yeah. That's what you just said, sort of keeping you in shape. I mean, that's important physically, but also, mentally.
Right.
But here's the thing: it can also do the exact opposite mentally. It can also sort of fuck with you a little more.
Yeah, put some unnecessary pressure on yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So you need to just sort of do what. If you lose the joy in it, what's the point in doing it?
Yeah.
Other than just the straightforward values of, I'm doing this to be healthy, even though I don't want to do it. Then how long can you do it for?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So
It has to be not only like thinking values, but it has to be like feeling, if that makes any sense. Like you
yeah,
have to feel that it's right.
exactly. Yeah.
What about for you? Like what keeps you going with all this? I know you're in a much different place than I am. I know for a fact you are definitely in the best cross country shape of your entire life right now.
Well, I mean, you know me. I kind of it's it's weird because I came to Penn State. I'm studying what I'm studying for running.
Right.
So the way you said, like you're seeing like a wider scope of things, like
Right.
sort of different paths you can go down. I'm not going to say mine is narrowing because it's not narrowing. It definitely is widening, but it's narrowing in the field of exercise physiology.
Okay.
You know what I
That makes
mean?
sense. Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah.
So basically everything I'm learning now, I'm actually sort of comparing and contrasting to going on a run and
Right.
racing and training. So for me right now, I'm sort of valuing like, I guess the science behind it. That's sort of what's really keeping me interested in training.
Yeah.
But also I'm valuing getting onto the team, the D1 team, because I want to do that more than I want to do anything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but in high school, I would have to say in high school, I mean, it was like a family. That was the best thing it could have given. I think any of us was just that family dynamic. So in that term, it was like it was a social aspect, but there were also the aspects that it kept us in shape. Uh,
Yeah.
it made us feel good mentally, uh, and it was something to do. It was a hobby. It was fun, you know. So
Yeah.
it really hit all the marks in high school. Right now, I would say it's keeping me in shape. I'm interested in it. It's getting
Yeah.
a little less fun, just because I'm by myself a lot of days.
Yeah. You lose that
But
team aspect.
exactly, exactly. But that's what I'm working towards. That's
Yeah.
what I'm sort of to get onto the D1 team. We'll see where things go from there. But
Right.
in terms of uh, dynamics with the team, but and who knows if I even end up making the team. I think I will, but
Hey, I
everything's in it.
mean, North
Everything's in it.
Carolina is always an option at the end of the day.
But the thing is, I don't know if because what I'm thinking now is I'm so into this, uh, into what I'm learning. I think
Right.
Penn State's probably the best place to do that.
Okay. Really? Okay. Good to know.
So, and this goes back to what I said before. Values that like they don't just switch like a flick of a switch. they 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 sort of morph and adapt over time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like as you said, like that team aspect, like you don't have it, but you're working towards it. So like you kind of have to put that on the side right now and focus on more of like your performance, if that makes any sense.
Exactly, exactly. But you also have to, because if you put a value aside, you're inevitably going to like I'm putting aside the fact that I want the family dynamic, the team dynamic. I don't have that right now. So I'm just sort of not looking in that direction. That will inevitably lead to sort of, I'm not going to say an unhappiness, but uh, I guess going against the grain of enjoying the activity. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Going against the grain of enjoying the activity that like you're like typically enjoying it in the context of, if that makes any sense. The setting. The setting.
Yeah, exactly. So that value that you put aside, if you want to work towards it to get that back or to get it for the first time again, whatever sort of situation, it sort of has to be like the light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
We're we're,
Yeah.
we're really in a deep conversation right now. I like this.
Yeah. That no, I mean, yeah, no, that makes complete sense. It sounds out there, but I mean, it definitely does make sense. I mean, yeah, I guess for me, that only worry is like that's a great goal to have. And like, of course we would all love that, but I don't know. It just seems so far away, if that makes any sense from where I'm at
Yeah.
right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, not that that's a bad thing. It's just like, it's like you're looking at you can like imagine there were no clouds and you saw the top of Mount Everest and you're just at the bottom and you're just like,
It's like shit.
that's a lot of climbing to do. I'm basically at that stage where I wouldn't say I'm at the bottom, but I'm just like, you know,
You're at the third lap of the mile.
I wouldn't say I'm at the third lap of the mile. I'd say I'm like halfway through the first lap of the mile. There's quite a lot of work to be done. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'm just gonna tell you this. I mean, I don't think you're as far behind as you think. I do think you're at the third lap of the mile, because in reality, it's just another year of training. And
Yeah.
but that doesn't make it easier. That doesn't make it easier in any respect. And to be completely honest, if you decide not to, I'm not going to be mad. I'm going to support that. But
I think it would take a lot for me not to try, because I feel like I've wanted and thought about this for a while, that it's like it would take me really hating the process for me to be like, okay, I probably should not do this for a little bit, take some time off, like go in another direction, because there are many directions that I could go in.
You want to hear a really, really, really corny quote, or like not quote, but idea?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so I kid you not, I was dead ass scrolling through Instagram and I saw this and I was just like, it said, don't just make your older self not have regrets, but make your 8-year-old self look up and be like, how every 8-year-old kid goes, oh, I want to be an astronaut or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so in a sense, like, be the astronaut. You know what I mean?
Like make your younger self proud, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, be like, oh, that was awesome.
Yeah. Like you want to like be someone that your younger self would be like, that's cool. I want to do that one day or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's always an interesting perspective to have. And that goes back to like the whole like imagination that kids have, and just like, you kind of have to like hold on to that in a sense, because I feel like as you get older, you kind of get less, not that you get less creative, but you kind of like
narrow.
Yeah, things narrow, and for a good reason. You kind of like want to get a job in one specific thing, but at the end of the day, we're still very young, and I think we don't realize that in some ways. And yeah, you just gotta stay ambitious.
If there's anything sort of if there's anything sort of the last year and a half ish has, I guess, projected, is that we're getting older, so it feels like we're already older. But like you just said, it's important that we realize that we're not.
Yeah.
So we can sort of keep in line with our values, running or not, just life values, and sort of follow that path that we want to.
Yeah. And I always think of, the time frame of this. You always say like people usually peak and track around the age of 27 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think about that and I'm like 27, like we're like a little less than a decade away from that. Like we have so much time to develop, and get faster and all that. So it's like,
exactly.
Even just as we get older now, like we might not be growing that much, but like, you get stronger as the years goes on, as the years go on. So, I mean, it's definitely a process. It's not an easy one.
No, and you want to hear something?
Yeah.
You just said, we grow, we develop. Well, yeah, I mean, our brains, they don't stop developing until we're like in our 20s, but then our heart either. I mean, even with training or just with growing, your heart literally builds more muscle as you grow. So we're not even still almost a decade away from reaching peak fitness.
Right.
I mean, and a lot of this conversation is talking about running, but the truth is, I think it all honestly applies to life in general. So
yeah, I mean, it definitely does. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we reference things like, we compare things to fitness, but that's just because this is a running podcast or Instagram or whatever it is,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, because I think running in a lot of ways, is as cheesy as it is definitely a metaphor for life, and it's become such a big part of our lives. So yeah, I
Deep talks.
deep talks. Yeah, it's one of those sports that, like, it's just, I mean, with every sport, you have to be not only consistent, you have to be very disciplined, super patient, and you're gonna have a lot of setbacks, as we've had.
Yeah.
You have to have a reason at the end of the day why you're going to get back on that horse and try again. And I think we get stronger every time we're knocked down and we have to get back up again. So I think this is just another test.
Yeah, exactly.
Transitioning to college is another test. If you still really want to do this, and if not, that's okay. I mean,
yeah.
You reevaluate. You're still young. We're all still young, so we could reevaluate whatever you want to do. And yeah. So
do you remember that graph that I had up in my room that I stole from Nick Simmons?
The one with the valley or something?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll explain it just so people listening, I don't know if anyone's listening to this point, to this far in,
leave a comment.
Yeah, leave a comment.
Also, wait, you should draw out the valley. I want to see
draw out the valley.
Yeah,
okay.
Draw it out.
All right, so the people listening won't be able to see this, but people watching on like Instagram where does it start? Does it start high or low? It has to start high.
It starts in the middle, I think, and then it goes down, and then it goes up.
Okay. So you start here. So this is sort of like in the middle of being really happy and like, this is awesome, and oh my God, this sucks, and like, I want to stop. So what you do is what happens, at least, according to this very simple graph, is you start out in the middle, and what happens is you slowly, things get more difficult. Your mental state kind of degrades a little bit, and you get to a point and you're like, oh my God, this sucks so bad. I don't want to keep going. I don't want to go for my run today. I don't want to do core. This isn't fun anymore.
And I could definitely personally relate to this specific graph. One, this is Nick Simmons' graph, not ours. And two, this is it's kind of like, I don't know, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, but like, at least for me, like we usually take a couple weeks off at the end of spring track, and then like starting summer training is always kind of like, it's nice, like it's summer, and you're running with your friends, but like you always feel that like that heaviness, I feel like, and it sucks, because it's like you just came from having you were so in shape during track, and then you're like running again, you're like, damn, I kind of feel out of shape right
now. You lost fitness.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yep.
So yeah, you're right. So then I just want to real quick finish this.
Yeah, you're good.
So then you get to a point where it's like, oh my God, this sucks. But then your fitness starts to go up, and you get to a point where you're like, you know what? This isn't bad. I'm doing pretty good right now. But then it keeps going up. And then you're like, oh my God, I feel amazing. I'm running amazing. Why did I even feel this bad in the first place?
Exactly. Yeah.
But the thing is, though, is this is unavoidable. This happens. You go through valleys, you go through mountaintops, like, or whatever. It is 100% unavoidable.
Yeah, I think it's just about not getting too caught up in the valleys. It sucks, because it's you don't always know the time frame of the valley and if you're ever going to reach the top of the mountain, but you got to know that at some point, if you're consistent enough, you're going to at least climb some part of that mountain. If I don't make the team one day, it's whatever, but if I can say and like fully try to achieve that goal, you never know where it could take you.
Who knows? You might even find another theoretical mountain that goes even higher.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So Yeah, no, I do agree with what you said that when you're at the bottom in the valley, it is sort of like, when is this going to go back up?
Right.
And there's not much you can do other than sort of, I guess, lace up your shoes and just go through it,
Right.
you know?
And I think as you said, like that mountaintop is always growing, right? Like for
Hmm.
you, it's making the team right now is one of your mountaintops, I'd say, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
maybe after that would be like, oh, being on like this relay team or whatever, or like running at ACCs or not ACC. You're what are you, Big 10 or something,
Big
Big
Ten,
12?
yeah.
Yeah, Big 10. So like running at like a conference meet, there's always new goals that you can push yourself to, and whether you achieve them or not, it matters, but like it's having those goals and having the courage to pursue them in the first place is kind of what really matters.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's just about, I mean, I guess the way to say it is putting in the work, because
Yeah. Effort.
sometimes
It's
work
about
isn't fun,
effort.
you
Yeah.
know? And when you're in the valleys, the work won't be fun. The work will suck. And then it's going to be even harder because then, you get done with your run that you didn't want to go to in the first place. And then for us, in our case, we got to go study,
Yeah.
and then we got to go take a test and go to class. And then we got to go to bed and do it again the next day. And that sucks, but it can only suck for so long,
And
you
I
know?
think I think it's from outside people looking in, people could call it stupid and dumb that we're just, trying so hard for such, I don't know, far off results. But I think it's pretty noble at the end of the day. Not even in just running, but just setting big, audacious goals and having people
Anything.
like be like, yeah, I don't know about that, and then going and trying anyways. Like, I think that's a noble thing, having the courage to. And I think you of all people especially have set those big goals. And even in my head, I'm like, I don't know about 420s. I don't even know if you're gonna run the 420s. And then you run a 422. I'm like, okay, okay, that's pretty fast. And you're in a dual meet, and like, is he gonna go under 2 all alone in the 88-degree weather? Maybe. Who knows? Runs an 158. Like, it's just, I think you of all people really know how to set big goals and not let anyone tell you otherwise that it's stupid. And honestly, for the most part, it's been for the better thus far in your life. And maybe sometimes it won't be for the better. Maybe sometimes it'll
No,
be like,
no, yeah, that's a good point. That's a
but I
good point.
think I think you do it in a way that's healthy and that keeps you really excited about running. And I love that. And I try to think about setting those big goals because they scare me, but they also, really motivate me to try and become something better than myself.
I mean, you and me we're undergrads right now, and we don't have a lot of experience in perspective of, the real world. But I think it's safe to say that we have enough experience to say, if you don't set a big goal that scares you, it's not a big enough goal. And you can break that down. You can have little goals to get there.
Yeah.
But I mean that.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, they should frighten you a little bit, and you should have a little bit of self-doubt. And I think I think removing that doubt in yourself and in maybe in others in a way is kind of rewarding because you realize that you're capable of more than you think, at the end of the day. And that's a huge, even in life, just like breaking through those barriers are just like huge in every aspect of your life.
Exactly, exactly.
Because I feel like
So
then it's a snowball effect, if that makes any
yeah, yeah.
sense.
Which is
Because
weird
like,
because you go uphill.
right, going uphill, and then you kind of like going uphill, and then you're like, wait, I can go uphill in this other aspect of my life too. Because breaking barriers and running is not just about breaking barriers and running; it's also about encouraging you to break barriers in other areas of your life. If that makes any sense.
One term that actually was brought up in one of my classes was education through the physical. So that means you use physical activity in our case, or at least yeah, truthfully in our case in the past, running. We've used running to learn a lot more, not only about ourselves, but about sort of obstacles in life and persevering.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's sort of that one of the themes of education through the physical in the class was that it's not running, it's through any sort of physical activity which sort of points to the fact that no matter what physical activity you're going to do, there are going to be times when it hurts and you're not going to want to do it, you know?
Yeah.
But you got to get past that.
Yeah.
Or
Definitely.
truthfully, sometimes you don't have to.
Yeah. I think
There's no pressure.
it's about your why. It's about why you do it, And I
Yeah,
think,
exactly.
yeah, because I mean, you can sometimes you don't have to climb that mountain if you know that it's not the mountain that you're destined to climb, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean?
If you know you're going to die climbing up.
There are other mountains calling your name. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or if you know you're going to die. Yeah, that's also.
Yeah, if you know you're going to die. It's going to get too cold. You get hypothermia, fall down a cliff.
Yeah, that's not good. You don't want the mountain to kill you, but you want the mountain to push
you. You want to kill the mountain.
You want to kill the mountain. All these metaphors are killing me. I can't. I feel like I'm in like 6th grade looking at like motivational videos on YouTube.
I know, right?
I literally used to do that. Like in 7th grade, I'd just look up like motivational videos and I'd watch them. And like, wow, like we're gonna die. Like we're gonna die. Like I went to my mom like, Mom, I'm gonna die one day. Isn't that crazy? I didn't actually say this, but like I feel like I definitely said something along these lines, and I definitely watched a lot of motivational videos like in middle school.
I gotta be honest. I think every kid goes through a phase like that.
Probably, yeah. Especially like guys. I feel like.
Yeah. Like they got it. It's part of it.
I guess. Yeah.
How long have we been on now? Because I don't want to make this a 3-part video, but
I think it's gonna be a 3-part video. We've been on for I think 30-ish minutes.
Oh god! All right, since it's gonna be a 3-part video, should we just send it for like 10 more minutes?
Wait, we're gonna talk for 10 more minutes?
Or less, but there's a couple more points I wanted to.
No, I mean, yeah, we could talk for 10 more minutes. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Yeah, sure. I don't know if people are still watching. Imagine people are still watching this.
If people are still
comment banana if you are still watching. Literally comment banana if you are still watching this. I'm actually so curious.
Oh my god. Okay, well, I guess now we could think about this. If no one ends up watching this, because God knows who watches this, we could technically say anything we want right now. I don't advise it, but technically we could.
Yeah, we technically could. I mean, it is public at the end of the day, so I don't know about that.
Yeah. All right. Well, but anyway, I wanted to ask, put running aside, do you have any sort of mountains? I guess that's the term we're using. Not in running.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Any mountains? I think running is such a big part, and I put a lot of pressure on myself to like set mountains in running, that like a lot of other areas in my life are kind of just like for like comfort. And like for example, like I play a lot of like piano and guitar, but I don't like put pressure on myself to like, oh, do a bunch of scales a day and learn a bunch of songs. Like I just like, oh, if I want to learn a song, I learn a song. Like that's something I like to do. I could push myself in those areas, but it's not something that I see myself pushing myself in for any good reason.
I've never thought of it in that way, to be completely honest, that you running is like the thing that you stress about, so you make big goals for it. I never really thought that you of not having big goals for hobbies and just sort of like doing them for fun and enjoying them 100%.
I think it's kind of subconscious. I mean that's only for music though. Actually, I don't know. It was in high school. There was definitely a balance. I was really trying to become better at viola, but I think senior year was kind of I really stopped trying musically because I realized it wouldn't take me to places and it didn't give me the fulfillment that running did. But I think for my future, I'd say a mountaintop for me, it sounds kind of silly, but is really just to get into photography more seriously. And I've been meaning to go out and shoot, but I just really have not had that much time. And I regret it because I know this is something I want to do, not just as a hobby, but maybe in the future, like working at some job that involves photography or videography in some way, which is weird because it has nothing to do with my major. So that's kind of interesting. But I think
Well, I was going to say, just a lot of people, they study one thing in college and their career is something completely different. Meanwhile, they end up making a whole bunch of money.
Exactly. So I like what I like is like keeping my options open and like
Yeah.
even with because my major is what business analytics and like information management. Like what does that have to do with photography? And I think what a lot of advisors are saying, like you can combine your hobbies with your major and you kind of make that something of your own. So I kind of like that idea. I'm not sure what that specifically entails right now, but I think yeah, just getting more into photography and not being afraid to fail and take really bad pictures or videos, photography and videography, to be able to, you know, go out and shoot just a really bad roll of film, you know, like I can't be afraid to fail. I think, you know, in running, I, you know, I wasn't really sure how I was going to do at first, but you know, you did it anyways, right? And I think that's something that I've been trying to get over, I guess, trying to just like get over your fear of failure. So yeah, definitely taking more photos, taking more videos, trying to do stuff in that space. And then I guess, I don't know, just doing really well in school. I don't know, like that's one of my mountaintops. One of my mountaintops is actually starting to learn how to invest. I've been trying to do that because I've joined the investment club, and it's like really, really confusing because it's not like they teach you how to invest. They kind of just like they pitch stocks to you, and they have guest speakers, and it's basically like, here's why you should buy this stock. It's like competitions on like why you should buy this stock or something like that, and they just throw all these numbers at you. And I'm just like, I don't really know what this means, but I'm kind of following along. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, and I know it's something that it's going to be, you know, beneficial for my future, just like financially. So yeah, so definitely in the creative space and the financial, definitely that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That's what the photography. Because when we would make YouTube videos, you were always good with the camera.
Yeah. I had a phase, as I said, I made that whole doc over quarantine, like really learning how to use like what like a camera and all of its components mean, you know, aperture, ISO, shutter speed, all that stuff. And I think I found it very interesting. It's not because I made it a chore. I just really was interested in this. So, I mean, I still love it to this day. So, yeah, it's just always the, you know, the tricky thing. I hope people are watching right now, because we're kind of getting deep into Head Start Running. The tricky thing with Head Start Running is how do you be the creative and the athlete at the same time, right? Because you have guys like Tin Man Elite, right? And they have, I don't know if you know these names. They have Joe Hale, Max McNary. They have a bunch of guys that are taking photos, taking videos, and that's what they can put out, like high quality content. That's why Tin Man Elite has become so relevant in running culture, because they produce quality content on consistently, right? And you know, for us, it's kind of like we're not so good as to have professionals surround us and record our every move, right? It's kind of like, well, we do have that advantage of being two guys, where it's like, okay, if one of us is injured or one of us is not doing this work,
which happens often,
which is good.
But you also we had Jack Chikara.
Yeah, we did have Jack Chikara for a little bit, but again, you know, it's not sustainable, because you want to have the creative control, but you also are like, this is my process. Like, this is like the creative control to document your own doing stuff, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Your own running. That's what I mean. And working out. I think, it's kind of tough to balance that. And I think, you know, as you said, with Jack Chikara, we kind of like, we tell him like, oh, be here, take a picture of that. Like, it's kind of like, it's a balance. And I feel like if anything really worked, that worked. And also just like, we could just tell anybody, be like, hey, take a picture of us after this workout or doing this rep.
But those pictures, it's the pictures of where it was just like us, you know, like chilling with our arms around each other after a workout. Those, it's basically the same picture, just in different settings. So it was difficult to get, you know, action shots, because that's really, I guess, when it comes down to pictures, those are really like one of the better ones we could get out there.
I don't know if you've noticed, but that's definitely by far what gets the most engagement. It's the action shots and the videos. Yeah, by far. Like what gets the most engagement is like, I guess, a combination of having a good caption and just like explaining stuff. Because when you're just having your arms around each other, it's kind of like, okay, what's the context of this? Like, what did you do? I think the caption kind of shows that. And also like how visually appealing is the picture. So it's a mix of the caption and the picture. But I've noticed that a lot of our best posts have just been really good videos or pictures or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
But yes, Head Start running, it was very fun, and it still is fun. It's just hard to continue to document this into college, I guess, when we don't have each other or other people that care.
Well, here's the whole thing though, is because Head Start running for pictures now, documenting our fitness journeys, they're completely separate. They are. It's just that's what happens. We're in different schools, they're separate. So the challenge was in making, and still is in making, Head Start running successfully one thing again.
Yeah.
And I guess
the podcast is doing a little bit of that, but
the podcast is doing a little bit of that, but how many people watch the podcast? So personally, I love doing the podcast. I really love doing the podcast. I think it's kind of cool and fun. And, you know, if we can do this consistently, which we have been, you know, have we been on for almost an hour? Please don't tell me we've been on.
Oh wait, maybe we have actually. We should probably end it soon.
All right, we got 5 more minutes max. Okay, 9:25 is when we're pressing stop.
By far our longest podcast.
We'll talk about how to like get more engagement after the podcast is over.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay, but no, the podcast, I feel like it's sort of, if we can somehow get it to a point where people are listening, and you know, we can develop it a little bit more. Maybe we could get some people that weren't just on the team. Maybe we could actually interview some people that like have had cool life experiences or a cool experience that they'd be willing to share. You know, that could sort of be ways we could develop the podcast, and in turn sort of make Head Start running not just you, not just me, and sort of a fitness, exercise, running site where we can, or community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. A community.
Yeah, that's, and I guess that goes back to values. We value community. It's not necessarily a team if we try what we're trying to make, but it, you know, we could try to make a community.
Yeah, a community, and inspire runners to be better, I guess. Yeah. So true.
All right. Should we? It's been real.
It's been real. It's been fun, but it hasn't been real fun.
All right, ready? Here, we'll end it right after this, okay?
All right.
If you've been watching up to this point, comment meatball.
Meatball, yeah, meatball. Also, when do you get home for Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving, I think it's like the Friday before Thanksgiving is when I want to leave. So I want to get home like the next Saturday or the Saturday.
I get home that Sunday.
Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely
gotta
try to go for a few runs and definitely get fucking Jack Car or something.
Yeah. Maybe. Okay. We'll get some Head Start running Jonah and Anthony content.
We'll get some real good content for you guys.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's been real.
It's been real. It's been fun.
All right. I'm going to end it.
See ya. Thank you.